The Square Ball Podcast.
Welcome to the show. We are bringing you this one with Levi Solicitors, Michael's favourite firm of lawyers in Leeds.
In the world.
Yeah.
I don't know much about world solicitors, but I doubt they're better.
Why do you like them?
For the services they provide, primarily, and a great bunch of lads.
Yeah.
Also that. So good. Do you want a discount?
If you've got one for me.
10% if you want.
Right. Off your legal fees on the full range of services.
Yep. Including
Great.
wills, probate, conveyancing.
Good.
And the rest.
Yeah. Do you like probate?
No, not really. I won't say I like it. It's just necessary, isn't it? It's just one of those things you need to do.
You can tell we're coming to the end of the season, can't you? Have you done Will's probate conveyancing?
Sorry,
Yeah, of course. That's all people want, isn't it? Play the hits. You know what solicitors do? Full range of services, great. They do dispute resolution.
Correct.
Licensing. We've probably not done enough justice to licensing.
Go on then.
Get your licenses for stuff. For being open and then what time you get to shut. And also, if you need to get into some litigation as well.
Yeah.
We like Ed, who's in the litigation team.
We do.
That's a personal recommendation. LeviSolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. I think we've given them sufficient airtime now.
I've got a good licensing story if you want it.
I mean, go on if you want to add some colour, yeah.
On my placement from university, I worked in a law firm in Belfast, and one of the big, quite well-known bars in Belfast, their license expired, and the solicitor who was supposed to renew it didn't do it, and he didn't have the heart to tell them.
Right.
And he asked me to make the call.
That properly throwing you under the bus there.
Yeah. It got sorted in the end, but I was just like...
We should have done it the way I would have done it, which is send an email before leaving the office. There we go. Shut that. See you all on Monday.
I did enjoy, in my previous job, the schedule email, 5 p.m.
Yeah.
But that's tomorrow's problem.
5:01.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a phone call as soon as this email's received, so I'm just going to make sure I'm not here.
Thankfully, Levi Solicitors would never do any of that.
No.
Highly professional outfit.
Indeed.
Who stay on top of all the big issues.
Good.
Particularly your licensing. LeviSolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. Thank you for that, for saving that one a bit there, Chris. Appreciate it. It is Dan, it's Michael, it's Chris on the update. And should we avoid talking about Elon Melier and talk about finances instead? Where the good stuff happens, the accounts are out. I have seen the headline figures. I'm not an accountant. Michael, obviously, you've got some sort of expertise in.
Yeah.
And despite my spreadsheet experience, don't know that much about this stuff. Turnover is high for the Championship, but the Championship is basically one big money pit. That's all I can sort of take away from this. What about you?
It's frightening. Just looking at 34 pages of numbers. Please just get promoted, Leeds. Please.
Yeah. It's weird because you look at the Championship and you go, you need to just get out of this division. But then you look at all the teams in the Premier League and they all lose money too. So I don't know what the point of it is really.
You just lose more money in a bigger way, don't you? In the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean we're in the Premier League because the accounts always are a year behind, aren't they? Effectively, so these accounts cover last season, not this season. And comparison with the season before, when we were in the Premier League, we still lost money then, and we owed more money then than we did now.
Right?
Stupid, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't know what they're bothering with. Get it sold.
I know.
Get out of this whole thing, everyone. It's a waste of time.
The lads at Auto Know Better are speaking to Kieran Maguire, who understands this sort of stuff, football finance and finance in general. So maybe give that a listen and be better informed than you're going to get here. But yeah, the big takeaway is it's a bin fire down here, and these accounts turn over 128 million quid. Presumably that includes parachute payments, which off the top of my head, that accounts for about 35% of the overall revenue there. Yeah.
So, I mean, there are some positives in it insofar as like the commercial revenue was very good. It was the highest ever in the league.
Yep.
Match day revenue was actually higher than the previous year, which was a Premier League year. Now, the reason for that is more games. Yeah. Is the straightforward way of doing it, and we still sell out every week.
And it's 50 quid a ticket, Michael.
And it's very expensive. Yeah, there's more games, and the prices, I don't think, dropped. Maybe did they shift one of the price categories when we came down? Did they say there's not like...
Did we get rid of A+? Is that right?
Something like that, maybe. Yeah. But It's still very expensive and it still sells out.
I do remember people paying £54 for Man United at home in the West Stand in 2023. So they've definitely brought some of the prices down by a whole £4.
Yeah.
In this accounts, it's the sale of Archie Gray, Sinistera and Adams. And we should say that this is not the PSR position. These are the accounts, although the two are very closely related. The cash position shown in this is not necessarily exactly the same thing that's factored into PSR.
No.
Which is
your losses in actual losses are different to PSR losses because you can offset certain things you do. Academy, which is actually a very big expense in fairness. Women's team, community stuff you do. There's a decent and infrastructure stuff as well. So if we did ever build the West Stand, for example, that would be excluded from PSR stuff as well, which is kind of why building a big stadium is a bit of a cheat on PSR, because it just allows you to generate money, which you then can involve in your PSR numbers.
Yeah. So you're spending money which isn't counted against you, but then it brings in money that is counted for you.
Counted for you.
Yeah.
Indeed.
One of the big figures in this account is amortization, which is basically writing off the value of stuff over time, isn't it? So presumably where amortization is concerned, most of that is footballers.
Yeah.
And I think it's about 60 million quid of amortization in these accounts, which is the scale of the loss, which perhaps suggests that our transfer policy hasn't been all that great in recent years, and the kick the can down the road policy under Radrazani is still in evidence, and you suspect will be for another year or so, and then in another year's time it possibly looks a little bit healthier as we lose a lot of those fees and so on.
Yeah. The previous accounts we still owed, I think it was £190 million for footballers.
Yeah, because when you remember Leeds going effectively bust in the early 2000s, it was £80 million of debt. And a football club being in £80 million of debt now, it's like, yeah, that's great. Well done.
Is that all?
We went bust too soon. That was the thing. Everyone got spooked by that number at the time. These days, you'd go, it's all right. Just invest some more money, sell something off. It's fine, isn't it?
It does go to show how you can have a great manager, you have a decent set of players, but if you've nothing upstairs keeping things ticking, or forward planning, or somebody buying and selling players in the correct manner, it just doesn't work. Like we under Bielsa, we planned for, let's just hope Bielsa can do this, and he did the first time, and it was too much the second time, and then the responsibility was handed over to people like Victor Orta, and Jesse Marsh was allowed to have certain players that he wanted. It's just a car crash.
Yeah.
Like the structure just isn't in place at all. Not in the same way as like Brentford whenever they came up and have sort of just about held on and done all right. You look at Brighton, like that's not like they don't have the same players, the same managers they did then. They've got the same sort of recruitment philosophy, for lack of a better phrase.
Well, both clubs there, Chris, actually recruit very, very wisely based on patented algorithms that their owners have developed.
Yeah.
So is that a roadmap for us?
Well, you will say as well that the other thing with Brighton is they've got to this position with their owner putting in about £500 million over the course of his ownership. They haven't dragged themselves up by the bootstraps here,
but they are held up as a gold standard, though.
They
aren't
are, but it's still been done with a phenomenal amount of money. And the 49, what these accounts also show is that the 49ers are essentially keeping this thing afloat because they are putting in like 130 million quid, without which this is the same for every club more or less going. If they operate, you can look at these accounts and go, they're kind of all right as long as that person keeps putting something in. And as soon as that is taken away, it's not all right. Yeah,
because like whenever we were in the championship before, I remember they do the wages to turnover ratio. Reading's was like 229%.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Ours is quite healthy in this set of accounts, I think.
Yeah, and it reflects that our, the clauses which in some way hampered us with, in terms of the people going out on loan and stuff, it meant it did become more affordable when we came down. The wage bill is still very high, though. Like there are comparisons with, so the Athletic had done a breakdown of comparisons with Southampton and Leicester and Ipswich, obviously the teams that went up, and it appears that we were lower than we kind of were because theirs are higher than they were because of promotion bonuses that were paid and stuff. So actually, we are the highest wage bill to not be promoted from this division ever.
Right.
So well done us.
2 years on the trot.
Potentially, yes. Well, we'd certainly be the highest wage bill in the league this year. Leicester was genuinely higher, I think. I think Southampton looked similar in the end, but was actually lower because of bonuses paid. And Ipswich's was £44.5 million.
So that's basically half of what we had.
But yeah, and that includes the bonuses that were paid.
Yeah, but I suppose there's going to be a lot of legacy League One salaries in there that actually now, if they go to the Premier League and they start renewing contracts and they bring people in on Premier League wages, then they are now hampered with that much higher wage bill. So theirs will probably double.
It's a license to lose money in the Premier League.
So they'll come down, hence the parachute payments, etc., etc.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of our salary, you've got to look at, this would be the same for all clubs that come down. Part of coming down is you've been crap, but you come down with players who are not worth the money you've promised to give them over 5 years in some cases, and you kind of stuck with it. Because like last year, I know Bamford did have a spell in the team, but one of our highest earners not really playing. Joffrey and Greenwood were given good Premier League contracts. You've got Firpo, Meslier, like people who have been earning good money at some point, and maybe not always performing to the level that you would expect someone of that salary to hit. It's
the ultimate catch-22, Chris, isn't it? I suppose in a way, it shows that you absolutely need to be in the Premier League for this to be anywhere near vaguely sustainable, and even then it probably isn't. But then when you get to the Premier League, you give yourself such a problem, you carry such wages and financial obligations when you get up there, just in that bid to try and close the gap and stay up, that if and when you do drop, which seems increasingly likely these days, you're fucked when you come back down. And so the cycle carries on forever.
Just let's get promoted and then pull the ladder up.
Is it the only way?
That's the only way.
Right.
I know we said about the Super League being a bad thing.
Yeah.
This particular ladder.
And saying to the American owners, Michael, you can't do that. We need promotion and relegation.
Yeah.
Are we bringing that to an end?
Well, it does make you wonder where this all goes, really, doesn't it? Because everyone loses money, more or less, across every division.
It doesn't seem sustainable at any level.
It's ridiculous. No one makes any money. It's like Chelsea being valued at £4 billion or whatever. They're an organisation that was successful because a Russian was pumping in billions of pounds of stolen money. And then they now have doing all this new financial stuff to keep themselves at that sort of a level. But at no point is it a business. It doesn't make sense on a business level. No one makes any money from this in the way it currently sits. So at some point, a change either is planned to occur or just everyone involved is quite happy to keep losing money forever.
It's got out of hand over the last 10 years or so, but this isn't a new thing. I do remember watching Do You Want to Win, and Bill Fotherby's talking about selling paintings for £1,000 to people to try and fund signing new players. Like, that's the late 1980s. This is not a new trend. Even I don't know why, but I decided to watch The Damned United again the other day, and Brian Clough's talking about trying to sign players from Derby, and the Derby chairman's going, well, it's my money. And it's not the football club's money, it's just this guy who happens to have been a successful local business person and is now throwing his money into this vanity project, which is what nearly every football club is at this point. It's either a vanity project or sports washing.
Has it changed in that regard? I was going to say, because you go back to like a lot of these all teams started sort of Victorian era or slightly later, and it'd be the mill owner, the factory owner, who was essentially owning it as a status symbol almost. So is it the modern equivalent of that? I wonder, or if it's not that, where it's a point of local pride, it's somebody who wants to wash a reputation, let's say, for somewhere else in the world.
There's still great packages available if you want to visit Saudi Arabia, by the way. You'll have a great time there.
But I mean, you think about the profile that the Premier League has around the world, but actually the turnovers of these clubs, it's actually really small beer in the grand scheme of things, but the profile it has is outsized compared to the money that it turns over. So, I mean, if you're prepared to chuck a few £100 million down the drain over the course of a number of years, is there anything else that gives you the sort of profile that Saudi Arabia is going to get out of sponsoring Newcastle and owning Newcastle and paying their podcasts to advertise the Saudi tourist board.
Well, boxing and golf are the other things the Saudis have gone for, isn't it? That's they're the other options, which again they're just chucking money at, really. Yeah. And this is the thing: is all the accounts we were saying that everyone's making massive losses at the moment. They are, admittedly, with creative accountancy, some teams are like Chelsea are kind of getting around it, but these are the kind of limited versions by the PSR rules. Imagine what would happen if they got rid of them. It'd just be
a free for all.
It'd be even more money being wasted. It's a mad system.
It's also, and I know we're sitting here talking about it, but it's just so boring as well.
Yeah,
like I know
so dry, isn't it?
There will be people who enjoy that, and if that's your job and you get to see it from a football perspective, I can understand enjoying that. But this is supposed to be a football podcast. I know we don't talk about football very much, but this is us talking about football. This is us talking about football, and we're talking about finances. It is just unbelievably tedious.
But do you know what? I think it's related. I think it's part of why we feel like we do. It's part of why anxiety about promotion is so high, because you see these accounts, and we are just pissing money away. And the only way around it, if you want to comply with, is either to not comply with the rules or to comply with the rules, is just to sell everything of any worth ever, which means the Championship will become more and more average, and it'll become one big homogenous blob where everyone's just about the same. But then when you get up, you can't stay up. It becomes impossible.
Intrinsically, you want promotion and relegation to be a purely sporting sanction, don't you? That your punishment for being bad in a season is you have to play in a worse division, and your punishment for staying in there is you just play again. That's not the case anymore. You come down for a season and you go, right, okay, that's a massive reset. Year after, another big reset. Then your payment runs out completely, and you end up stuck there potentially because people are coming to it in all different positions, and it's not it'd be nice if you could, like, you can't keep players anymore. You can't go up and keep players either because they're not good enough. So it's like none of it is. The gulf is just, as Southampton are showing, is just enormous.
Well, signing someone like Joe Rodon, I was going to say as an example, is massively the exception. What you're saying there, like, it's the exception to the rule. Like, you won't get a Premier League level footballer who's willing to come and drop down and just stay down here for as long as it takes. Because they won't want to from a career perspective, but also because you couldn't afford them.
But you see clubs in the Championship now, and Leeds included, signing players at the younger half of their career who they're going, right, well, we can sell this person on for X amount. Football is starting to slightly go the other way, because you see these teams who have a team full of 22-year-olds, and when it comes to this time of the season, the arse falls out of it, basically. But I think in the next few years, we'll probably start to see a few teams going, well, why don't we just sign this old experienced head? Build a bit of a spine before you go and spend all of your money on 22-year-olds, like Leeds did when they were in the Premier League. Like, we replaced they were proven professionals, but weren't Premier League quality footballers. Probably you replaced them with sort of semi-speculative punts who were quite expensive and not very, like, barring Rafinha, did any of them work?
Yeah, well, Marute may have worked out long term, for example, but we were relegated with him in the team because we didn't have the basics built around him. If you're adding him, if Crystal Palace had bought Ruta or Brighton had bought him at that time, they could have allowed him a year to develop, but it was a complete waste of money for us at the time, because what we needed was someone who could come into a team and score goals, and he was not suited for it at that point.
Yeah. To go slightly off piece, but in the same thought, I went to watch Genoa about this time 2 years ago, and they were in the second division, but they got promoted that day. But their best player was this guy, Albert Gudmundsson, Icelandic guy, who they'd signed in the January of the previous season whenever they were going down. And they're like, right, well, this guy's going to solve all of our problems. He'll score the goals to keep us up. I think he scored one. And then he was by far the best player in the second division the year after. Scored a handful of goals, got them promoted, had a good year, and then moved to Fiorentina. You're going, well, very obviously, when you're going down, you don't spend the money on a player who's not proven or not ready, or like, it's better to have a 34-year-old who will score you 6 goals between now and the end of the season than go, well, this guy might be worth 40 million in 2 years, so let's get him now and pin all of our hopes on him.
We've talked about Brighton from where they are now, but they had the Glenn Murray years.
Yeah, they did.
They were just like, yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
He'll get us like 12 goals this season.
Yeah, well,
and has no resale value, but fine.
I was going to say, as we understand it, they've been doing a lot of research, led by, I think it's Robbie Evans, who's in the club, who's been leading the research and accumulating data, learning what it takes to stay in the Premier League. And I've heard anecdotally that one of the conclusions that they came to is to have a more experienced team in there. Physically strong was one of the attributes that they need. Physically strong players do what Brentford did, which is be able to try and muscle your way to staying up.
Yeah.
And the other bit was a core group that is more experienced.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, like football dictates that having a slightly more experienced team will get you those extra couple of points.
Mm.
There's no point in having players with resale value if you just end up going down anyway.
Yeah. Anything more on the numbers? Because, like you say, it's very, very dry.
The Kieran Maguire, you mentioned him earlier. I did see him tweeting about the PSR stuff, which is, as I said, is kind of separate from this, but he basically said we're fine on it.
Yep.
Was this long and short of it? Because apart from anything else, you submit stuff in March for that, and if there was a problem for it, we'd probably know about it by now. Where we are in a year's time, who knows? Yeah,
because what you're referring to there is that you have to submit future projections when you're in the EFL, and that's part of actually what Leicester ended up falling out with the EFL over, wasn't it? That so basically we don't have to do that because we weren't in this division, and your rules, there's a little loophole in your rules about the wording is not quite exactly as you might want it. So we're going to dive through there. We're going to drive a coach and horses straight through that little loophole, and that's how they got away with it. But
welcome back, motherfuckers.
I was going to say it'll be interesting to see what's coming down the track towards them when they come back down this time, and it'll probably be a bloody train.
There is a bit of me thinks when I've been bargaining with the fact of maybe staying down, going, Leicester are going to be, if Leicester come down and get a points deduction, they're going to be weak. Southampton are going to be really demoralised, so that'd be maybe it was an Ipswich next year would be the two to beat. But let's park that for another day. That's a summer discussion, isn't it? When we try and convince ourselves that it's fine.
But it's not all bad news. We are in a cup final.
Way.
Diogo Montero's Barmy Army.
Yeah, the secret cup.
Secret?
It's been a secret all season, hasn't it?
Is this like Fight Club again?
Pretty much.
Right.
It's the National League Cup, which is the under-21s against conference sides.
Yeah. Can you think of any other cup competition where the final doesn't have a set date?
Or a venue, it seems.
Well, no, it's going to be at Sutton, I'm pretty sure.
Because I saw someone saying there was talk it was going to be at Luton.
Well, the club in their match report put that it would be at Sutton United, and that's the only information that there is publicly on that.
Should be said, Steve Morrison's Sutton United.
Mm.
Yeah. Seeing an old friend?
Yeah, great lad.
Mm.
I'm sure he'll get a nice reception from the travelling Leeds fans. Yeah, very strange competition.
Yeah, and when I know the whatever the pizza trophy's called now, when Leeds were in that, they kind of struggled against teams. I know they were League 1 and League 2 sides, but you would think the physicality of between 21s and the conference would still be too much for some teams.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a good bit of experience for him to play against some grizzled bastards.
Who's your favourite strapping 21-year-old boy, Michael?
Oh, probably not Charlie Cresswell anymore. He's too old, isn't he? Do we have any?
Nanto's 21.
There you go.
21 years old.
Does he count as strapping? Is he too small? I feel like he's obviously got the bulk.
Yeah. He's got the circumference, hasn't he?
Very much so, yeah. But yeah, don't know. Why? Who's yours?
Have a think on that. Well, you should have a load of them in your contacts in your phone, as well as the mums.
There's only so much I can do.
So the National League Cup, we beat Altrincham 2-1 in that, which means we're playing in the final against Sutton, Steve Morrison's Sutton. Don't know where it's going to be played. We don't know when it's going to be played. We just know that it might be played at some stage.
It might be at Sutton. It might not.
We might learn out.
You might know the date. It might be today. Who knows?
We might find out afterwards. Is what
might have already happened.
Maybe so. Yeah. There'll be some Leeds fans there. People always find out about these things.
Yeah.
But the club don't seem to really want to mention it for some reason.
Right, should we do some of our likes and dislikes from the last 7 days? Got a feeling I might know what some of the dislikes are. And we'll crown a hero and villain of the week. Before we do that, do you want to talk about how we got wood?
Excuse me?
We got wood.
Oh, yeah. The big chopping board thing.
I'll go get it.
Get it.
You wait there.
I'll let you read the letter, and I'll hold it like a glamorous assistant There's a letter. I'll just fall on the floor there, Dan, if you want to explain it. Look at that. I should probably not put it in front of the microphone. It's going to make it.
Yes, if you're on the video version, you'll see that. For the benefit of anybody who's on the audio version, it's a piece of wood. How big would you say that is, Deb? It's a good couple of feet or more in length, more than a foot wide, in the orientation of a football pitch. And it's got our logo where the centre circle is. The Leeds smiley badge is there, just off to the right. It says, "We all love Leeds." And it is food safe. That's the important thing.
Good. It's come all the way from the United States of America.
So it's Lenny who sent this. My name's Lenny. I'm a teacher and woodworker from Randolph, New Jersey, and I am a new Leeds United supporter. I grew up watching the Yankees and the New York Giants, but since my kids play high-level soccer here in the States, I have wanted to follow a club for a while. And when COVID hit, came across the Take Us Home documentary on Amazon, and I was hooked. I soon learned that my daughter's coach was from Leeds, and I knew I'd found the right club. He did give me fair warning about what goes along with being a Leeds supporter, but I wasn't quite sure what that meant yet. I suppose he does now. I knew I needed to learn more about the players, the city, the coaches, and the history of Leeds, and that's where the square ball comes in. Oh, thank you. I've listened to every podcast since April 2021. The match ball, the 2-1 Man City game would be the jump-off point. Not a bad one to start with, that one. A match I'll never forget because I made the whole family wake up early in the morning to watch it. But enough of my backstory. I'm emailing because I designed a square ball serving board. That's what it is officially. And I wanted the show to have it. It's made from locally sourced walnut here in New Jersey.
Subject to tariffs now, of course.
Yeah, and I used a CNC to cut out the field lines along with your logo. What's a CNC?
I think it's like one of them electronic drill things that goes...
If there's any,
just patterns.
If you're a woodsman, just let us know.
I think, is it not one of those saws? Oh wait, no, that wouldn't make sense. No, I was thinking of no.
Let's call it a choppy thing. To cut out the smiley badge, we all love Leeds and so on. Once routed, I added multiple layers of epoxy with a coloured pigment, followed that with a ton of sanding, added some oil, and it's all done. You'll find it on Lenny's Instagram, which is 5 Arrows Design, and tagged us in it. So thank you for that. And Lenny does sign off by saying, every few months the board will begin to dry out and new oil needs to be applied to keep the board conditioned. Use a food-safe board oil or coconut oil, and the TSB serving board will jump right back to life.
I've been rubbing it on Daniel Farker's face.
Right. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out and ask. Why, Lenny? Why? Not about the wood, just the team.
Yeah, I mean, he said he supports the Yankees, who they're definitely the most successful team in baseball.
Yeah, so why did you choose Leeds?
Yeah, maybe it's his way of giving back for all those years of enjoying sport.
Balancing the universe. Yeah. So
when do I get a nice time?
What, with Leeds?
But just in sport.
Support the Yankees?
Maybe?
I
could do,
I don't know.
Yeah.
You get a nice time in this sport in about another 4 weeks' time.
Yeah.
3 or 4 weeks.
Playoffs.
No. Automatic promotion, Michael.
Okay.
And what we will do is we will celebrate by having some beers in here and possibly serving a selection of meats and cheeses on that food board, I think.
But it seems too nice to use, I have to say. I don't want to cut anything on it, certainly.
Yeah. It is. It's amazing quality.
It's really nice. It's really nicely made. I keep stroking it. The board.
Yeah. Stroking your wood and all that. So thanks a million to Lenny for that. Really appreciate it.
That's probably going to be the like this week, just to spoil it. But
is Lenny having Hero of the Week for that?
It's likely.
Yeah, I can't see anyone else getting it.
Fair enough. Do you want to start on...
Melier needs to get up his shed game. That's all I'm saying. He needs to start, if he's going to redeem himself this season, needs to start trying to craft some stuff.
Right. Get some power tools and an axe and all that. Should we start off with the Ken Bates Villain of the Week award then and factor our dislikes into that? Can't think what might happen here.
Melier is mentioned a fair bit.
Interesting looking at the TSB Plus members' feedback. While there is obviously a lot of chat about Melier, just Leeds, everything, practically everywhere. That I even started supporting this cursed club. The 11 pricks in Leeds shirts on the green bit.
It hasn't been a great week, has it? Has it been the worst week of the season?
Probably. I also don't think it's fair to give Melier all the blame, because the second goal was like absolute trampoline toes from Joseph, and then
trampoline toes.
Tanaka's attempt to tackle is pathetic. It really is, and the people are out of position, and the throw-in's bad, and Meslier should save it. But
and in the first instance, Chris, should somebody have had it up the pitch? I can't even remember what happened in the run up to it. Can you?
I was trying to think what it was, but
was it Ramazani?
Well, we won a throw. No, we won a throw in the. It starts with our throwing in the corner.
You are thinking of Ramazani right before that. He skinned 2 or 3 people and then lost the ball.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just run to the corner and go stand there?
Don't know, because he never plays and he's rusty.
Right.
Possibly.
Lack of experience all round, potentially. Not experience, but just a cool head in a situation like that. Our game management was terrible all round. Yeah, I don't want to give all of it to Meslier. I actually don't even know if I want to give him villain of the week.
Who are you saying then?
Just the team in general.
Can't give him the award, he'd only drop it, and so on.
Spread that blame around. I mean, Brendan Aronson gets some mentions. He scored a goal, for God's sake.
Meslier saved the penalty.
Yeah.
That was the first Elland Road goal at a match I've been at, the first one I've ever missed.
Ah, really?
Yeah. I was at the toilet.
Oh, no. 1s or 2s?
1s,
right.
2s at Elland Road. Jesus, you're brave.
Fair point. No, I wouldn't. No. I make sure I am evacuated long before I go near that stadium.
What an image.
It's hard. I think here's the dilemma, right? The catch-22. It's hard to see past Meslier because of how we all feel, and his errors were so instrumental in us dropping points.
Could you pin it on Farker?
Yeah,
he keeps picking him. He keeps picking Aronson.
But I was going to say, but he did save the penalty, and he wasn't the only one culpable.
And let's face it, we should be able to beat Alan Sheehan's Swansea.
Yeah. I would like to see Meslier not be in the team this weekend for his own sake as much as anything. But I don't think last weekend was entirely his fault.
So, okay, my proposal is this. Final written warning, Elon Meslier, right? And then we award this, the Ken Bates Villain of the Week award, to Leeds United Football Club. But we want Daniel Farker to receive this in the same spirit that he has received his Manager of the Month photos. He has to stand there and be photographed in front of like the wall at Thorpe Arch or whatever, with a look on his face that says, I want to be anywhere but here.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if there was an actual trophy, it'd be an option. He's just going to have to virtually receive this.
Yeah.
So you just want a miserable photo of him?
A virtual scowl, yeah.
Okay, fine.
Is what I'm after. Sort it out. It goes back. I remember sticking that tweet out ages ago from the Square Ball account, which was just win dickheads and stop making everybody feel so sad. I'm going to have to reactivate all my social. I'm going to have to put it all back on my phone just to retweet that ahead of the game on Saturday.
Yep.
Because it's pertinent again and will be forevermore. Leeds United Football Club, then we're happy to settle on that.
Fine, yeah.
Good. Hero of the Week, the Gaetano Berardi Hero of the Week, somebody who's actually brightened our day. And that is sponsored by the TukTukClub.com. Have an update, by the way, on the Tuk Tuks. You know, we mentioned last week, I was thinking out loud and wondering what the names of the Tuk Tuks were, because Bruce had mentioned before, can you suggest names? And they could be no longer than 4 letters because they have to go on a number plate. The only one that got a bit of Leeds flavour was one that was initialed MB. So one of the Tuk Tuks is Marcelo Bielsa.
Oh, so it can be less than?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was trying to hit the character limit. Ow. Do you want to go another 2-letter one?
Yep.
Could be an option. Although maybe not after that limp tackle. Useless. Drop him. Can't wait to sell him in summer. Glad to be rid of him. More positive news about the Tuk Tuks, though. Eh? Sorry.
15% discount.
Sorry for dragging the Tuk Tuks down with me.
TSB 15 for a 15% discount. Go explore Northern Thailand. Beautiful part of the world. Yet to get out there. Although Bruce did email me this week and said, you've really got to get out there. We've got to go have a square ball trip out there.
I would very much like to.
It's as I said before, it's the selling it at home.
It's that bloody anchor of a family I've got.
Dragging you down again, are they?
Yeah, I might just, probably my best bet is to just go and not tell anyone. I'll just phone once I'm there.
Although,
you'll never guess where I am.
If we could sort of dress it up in a charity angle, then saying you could sort of say emotionally blackmail your family and say, look, we're doing this to help people. And by denying me the right to go there, you are actively punishing people in need.
It's an option.
Right.
It's an option. It's not as easy to sell as walking from North Wales to Leeds.
No.
Which did, on the face of it, look quite miserable. Even though I had a nice time.
The tuktukclub.com. Thank you very much to Bruce and the gang for supporting us this season on the podcast. Right. Is it the Woodman, Lenny? The Woodman?
Willie Nonto needs a mention because he did win that game for us.
Yeah, that should be remembered as not quite Strachan versus Leicester, but like a similarly impactful goal.
Yeah, that's a good shout, that.
We all thought we got away with it, didn't we?
Yeah.
At that point.
And he had literally just come on the pitch, hadn't he?
Yeah. He comes on and you go, we've been absolutely shit today. We've given a penalty away, which we've got away with. Melié's gifted him a goal, which we've got away with. And it's all fine, actually. Yeah. But no, it wasn't fine. And
the goal as well, I really enjoyed it because it was one of those, how many times this season have you been begging them to just hit it? The ball comes out the edge of the box, just smash it. And he did. And
through a crowd of players, Chris.
Yeah, and it went in.
Yeah.
And it'll be forgotten forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Might be a valuable point. Yeah. But it still should have been 3.
Like, I know if I had been here on Saturday, I would have probably turned purple and had a breakdown. But
Rob did that instead.
I was going to say, you saw the show then.
Yeah. But thankfully, I was with our dear friend Moscow, and I asked him, give me a couple of positives, and then let's not talk about it after that. And it was for the best.
He'll have said Melié played well anyway.
No, yeah.
he always liked Melié more than he was due. He didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve his love.
I mean, it's all fine and well giving this award to Willie Nonto, but is Willie Nonto food safe? We don't know, do we?
We don't know for certain.
Because when you said before about
you suggesting he should lay there while we eat sushi off him.
Well, get into niche clubs again here. I was just thinking when you said about Ramazani being a bit rusty, and then my mind immediately went to could we sand him down like that board and then re-oil him?
Let's not.
No,
let's not.
Feels like a bit like a Saw movie, that, doesn't it?
Yeah,
yeah. Chris Milner. No, not Chris Milner. Sorry, Chris Milner. Drop your name into that. It's the person underneath that. It's Dan James's Platform Shoes. Says, when I stopped crying, there was nothing to do but laugh. That was Dan James Platform Shoes like of the week.
Okay.
Finding humour.
I didn't find any really.
In bleakness. And Dicko says, go fuck yourself asking stupid questions like, what did I like about that shite? Which I think is fair.
Absolutely fair, Yep. It's been the question all year, hasn't it? So I'm not changing the format. I'm not sure I can change the form. Never mind the format. It's fine. Just you don't need to put anything.
So is it Willie? Even though we've told off all of Leeds United this week.
It's the Boardman or it's Willie.
Lenny the Boardman, the Woodman.
Lenny Boardman's a good name.
Yeah.
Could have been
a comedian or whatever.
Yeah, good doing the music calls or something.
I think Lenny, because Willie Nonto hasn't brought any serving boards in.
True enough.
Yeah. But we are prepared to share it if and when that happens.
If we get promoted, Willie's Italian, he can bring some of his favourite charcuterie down and we can sit here and have a wee bite to eat, a couple of Parettis. Everyone's happy.
Some Parma ham.
Nice.
Yeah.
Although is that from Italy? Parma ham?
Yeah.
Guess where it's from? Guess where it's from? Go on.
I never quite know the difference between Parma ham and prosciutto and all the others.
Prosciutto, prosciutto has to be made a certain way. So Parma ham's kind of like Parmesan cheese isn't actually Parmigiano, which is the proper one.
Oh, I'm confusing my Parma, my Mallorcan Parma as well.
That's Palma.
Very confusing.
You're thinking of Serrano ham? That's Spanish.
Serrano, that's the one.
Right.
It's all much the same. It's all nice. It's all very nice. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I would receive some. If people want to send us food packages, just make sure it's properly refrigerated.
You've received some week-old meat from Italy.
You could use it for your eat it about 2 hours before the game, and you'll be good as gold for Ellen Road.
About 3 stone lighter. All right then. What was it? Did we go for the food safe board, Lenny and the Woodman?
Yeah, that's fine.
And Willie, well done, Willie. But sorry, you collective responsibility and all that.
Even though everything you did was basically good,
yeah,
you're still not having it.
Yeah, because collectively you made us sad. Right, fine. All right, good. That wraps it up for this week. We're happy to wrap it up there. We haven't even mentioned good work by the accountants.
I mean, presumably so.
Well done. Your spreadsheets. Grow up doing spreadsheets around football, you idiots.
You should have cooked the books.
Right.
Yeah. I was going to say maybe they did, but they didn't.
They absolutely didn't, did they? They absolutely didn't. No.
Nope.
That was an absolutely legally sound representation of.
No, they're all. I've had a look at them and they all look good to me. So.
See you in a bit.
The Square Ball Podcast.